Can what's called mindful running work for you? Wrinkled Runner here, and today I'm going to be reviewing a book by Mackenzie Havey called Mindful Running, so stay tuned. So when I run, I like to listen to podcasts rather than music, and I listen to all sorts of them. Some are about blogging, some are about running, some are about other things that I'm interested in. And I was listening to a running podcast, and they talked about this book, Mindful Running. So I heard enough that I was interested in pursuing and reading the book and learning more about it. And it is by Mackenzie Havey. She's an instructor for the physical activity program at the University of Minnesota. She's also a USA track and field coach, and she has training in mindful stress reduction. So this book is really thorough, and it talks about mindful running, running with purpose, running with joy, finding your flow, listening to your body, and not just putting things aside. Like sometimes if I'm running and I feel like a little niggle in my calf or my foot hurts or something like that, a lot of times we try to shove it aside. But in mindful running, you're actually going to hone in on that feeling and try and decide, is this an injury that I need to rest up? Is this just fatigue? Is this something that I should be learning more about? And so with mindful running, you're actually running in the moment. You're not running and thinking about the end or thinking about something that happened, at last week's run or something that happened to you earlier in the day. You're running mindfully. You're running in the moment. Definitely, especially when I run by myself, my mind can wander, and I can have entire conversations in my head with people, and that aren't ever going to happen, and I can get actually really mad, and then I start speeding up, and then my pace is all off. And running mindfully has you throw away the negative things that you may be thinking about as you're running. Now, on a positive standpoint, if you're heading toward some kind of a breakthrough or some kind of a creative solution to a problem, then mindful running can also help you hone in on that a little bit better. But it's mostly about enjoying the mile and really running and not having to think about the fact that you're on a run, but just enjoying everything that's going on around you. I remember when I ran my first marathon, which was just last May, I just passed the 17-mile mark, and we were going up a little incline. Things were getting hard. It was getting hot, and I just kept calculating in my head how much further I had to go, and I knew that if I kept going down that path, then I was going to want to quit, or I was going to want to stop and walk, and then I just had to stop thinking about where I was or where I was heading and just look around and enjoy what was going on around me. And once I did that, I was actually able to then enjoy the rest of the marathon without having to think about, oh my gosh, I've got 6 more miles to go, I've got 9 more miles to go, whatever. And it became a really great experience for me to be able to look around and enjoy the crowd of people who were cheering on the side and people who were running with me. And it actually, the second half of the marathon was actually a lot of fun. There's a lot covered in this book. It's actually almost like a textbook, and there are a lot of exercises and action items that you can do, that she gives you to do if you're somebody, say, who gets bored a lot on the run, and things that you can ask yourself and things that you can do on the run to not be so bored, or if you're feeling fatigue, or if you're feeling stress, or if you have a lot of negative self-talk, if that little devil on your shoulder is telling you, you can't do this, you're going to quit, you're not really a runner. All those things she deals with in the book, and the things that you can do to help guide you through that. So there are concrete ways that you can get through and learn about mindful running. Sometimes we read things or we experience things and it's rather vague, and whoever is doing the teaching isn't really, we're not really learning that much, but this book is really concrete in the things that she goes over, and the science that she talks about, and all the things that you can do on your next run. There's actually so much that I'm only going to be focusing on 1 or 2 things over probably the next couple of months as I run, and kind of identify the things that I have trouble with when I'm running, and do the action items and the exercises for those. There's also a whole chapter on mindful racing, and I'm really anxious for my next race so that I can use some of the ideas in this book on my next race. There's also a section on yoga, which I like to do for cross training, but it's also a good stress reliever. I do bedtime yoga, and I'll actually be doing a video next week on insomnia and runners and things that you can do to help alleviate some of the insomnia that we may have. I mean, I'm 51, I'm a woman, and so insomnia, whether I'm a runner or not, is just something that I have to deal with. And so I do some bedtime yoga, but she talks about yoga as stress reduction, and we can use it to become more flexible. And of course, most people know that in the mindful community, yoga is something that we use to become more mindful. So I'm going to make a list down below of the table of contents so you can see all the stuff that's actually covered in the book, because it's way too much for me to go over. I'm also going to link to Amazon where you can get the book. I'm also going to link to some running journals that you can look at over on Amazon. She really talks about having a training journal, which I've just started doing in the past month or so, having a training journal, keeping track of my runs, how I'm feeling, those kinds of things. So I do recommend this book if you are interested in mindful running. And if you have any questions about it or questions about running in general, you can comment down below, or you can email me at sherry@wrinkledrunner.com. Also hit subscribe below so you don't miss a video. And head over to wrinkledrunner.com and sign up for my email. It's a once-a-month newsletter that comes on the first Saturday of every month, and I link to the YouTube videos and also to the blog posts that were from the previous month as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the run.